If a person can have access to the vendors like HP, Dell websites where credit card information is stored, shipping, address, things like that, where they can decide to purchase more servers for their house. Or it could be somebody in accounting where they have access to online financial services and banking information. So you really have to be mindful that all of that information gets changed appropriately as soon as the individual is being, or during their termination process. And then last and not least, always report the theft and have it on file. So that way, if there is an issue and you need to go to court and there's a problem, you have an actual documentation that supports or highlights what the incident was all about. Because you never know, something could happen downstream. So a lot of these documents that we talked about, obviously you can either start from scratch where you have a number of applications that can actually generate some of these policies for you, or you can just take advantage of some of the forms and templates that we have, which I believe we distributed some of them in the packet.
We have hard copies here, and then if you would like an electronic copy, my email is on the last page, and just email me and I'll send you an electronic copy.
So one additional thing we're doing, which is kind of neat, and we've been doing this for our customers, and what we do is actually send out a phishing attempt to your employees, and this starts out by basically us sending an email, an anonymous email to all the employees within your organization, and have a link there for them to click on. It says, hey, click here to update something. We're trying to trick them. Literally, we're really trying to trick them. We make it look so good. It's a legitimate email for a bank or Netflix or whoever it is, and we're trying to see out of all the employees you have, who would be the ones that will fall for the trick. And what we do is once we send the emails out and everything, then we generate a report within our tool, and the report basically tells you out of your, let's say, 100 employees, 20 of them absolutely in this department or that department or across the board clicked on the link, put in their password, put in some additional sensitive information, and here are their names. It's useful for a couple of reasons. Number one, you need to have a conversation with them. Because seriously, if you have 20 people or 20% are putting in passwords online, then there's no telling the next time they're going to get a real hacking attempt or a real phishing email that they simply put a password. The next thing you know, you have ransomware, your information is stolen, or a hacker is sitting there trying to, sell your information online. And part of that, we also offer free security training. So when we bring you the report and you say those 20 individuals, you can say, let's do a webinar or let's do training in our office where we'll have a trainer come in and talk about how to avoid falling for those traps. And the idea behind it is to show examples of fake emails and different things so that you guys can see what that looks like and your staff members get the adequate training for it. And I think that's the last slide. Yep.
Do you have any questions?
Any questions on security and nothing? You guys are good? No surprise, no phishing emails?
These two over here.
No, we had an incident where we didn't think that our OneDrive files could be easily affected as they were. We had a new employee that, thank God, they had only been there for a week.
Okay.
So the files that they had in their own business OneDrive folder were very limited.
Okay.
But literally because the computer was actually syncing the files,
right,
they were able to backtrack up into
365
and lock those OneDrive files down.
Good.
So we've implemented an internal policy. We no longer actually have those files linked, or the computer linked to the actual 365. They have to log in online
to get the
upload and download the files.
Yep.
Just to eliminate that possibility, because I thought that was even, I didn't
an option.
think that was even possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, because that could be tricky, because that's all your information. Something happens, they're gone, they take it home, and they just make a local copy, and you can't really...
And another thing, obviously, we were drastically affected in our business by the hacking at Mecklenburg County.
Yes.
We rely on building permits to be issued.
Right.
It actually drastically affected our business by our customers not getting their permits approved, and everything just came to almost a halt there for a while. and it still took a long time to get it back up. But one of the phishing things that I've noticed, I've seen the PayPal ones, I've seen the other stuff, but we've had stuff come from our customers that were so particular that it amazed me the detail, the level of detail in which they were sending pertinent information to us that had corrupted links.
Right.
That people, we typically download their plans when they send them to us. You know, it wasn't the typical so-and-so sent you something. You can obviously tell it's
targeted. It's called spearfishing. That's when they target specific organizations. They somehow have some inside scoop on the company, whether it's one user that had their emails hijacked and somebody logs into their emails and they start learning about the company and the people's names and the titles, and they'll research the company and then they'll spoof the email address to make it look like it's coming, and they'll ask for money transfers, money wires, or they will send fake links to get you to click on them so they can get in, but they make it look so legitimate that most people can't. There was one hacking attempt that was shown during the security conference just a few weeks ago, that a LinkedIn invite. You know, we all get LinkedIn invites, right? Click here to accept. And it was incredible because what they ended up doing, so the website for LinkedIn is linkedin.com, right? This one is LinkedIn, but it was missing a letter.
Yeah.
For us, we complete the sentence. It looks so close that it's LinkedIn, right? So you click on accept invite, it sends you to this fake LinkedIn website, it asks you to log in, you log in with your credentials. Here's the crazy part, it still logs you in to LinkedIn because LinkedIn has APIs for third-party app providers. It sends you and then redirects you to LinkedIn, and at that point you're saying, it's great, I logged in, where's the invite for this person? I don't see it. Maybe a glitch, close it out. What the hackers do then is that session, that when you logged in legitimately, they keep that session open behind the scene, and then they start stealing the information and mining it. So that's another new trick that they have. It's social engineering. So they're going to try to deceive you every way, and because we're constantly busy and slammed with emails, one letter that's off, we may not realize it, and then we go and put our credentials and somebody's going to make use of it. So with the Mecklenburg situation, I mean, their security budget I think was $2.some million, but they spent a lot of money on security. But this is a great example that it's not how much money you have in the budget for security, right? It's not about the great software that you have that's going to protect you against everything. With Mecklenburg, it was a hijacked credential of an admin person that had access to all these systems behind the scene. Somebody took it, used it, got in, and realized I can do all this damage. And then all of a sudden they spread everything ransomware, and then they ask for the money. And you would think that as much money as they spent on security, that, I mean, Mecklenburg County, they fell for that. Again, it was an admin, they haven't released his name, but it was an admin that basically his credentials were taken and there's nothing they could do. It's scary. I can't believe it affected you. I mean, it affected everybody. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
At some capacity, but.
Yep.
The other thing we did last week, and I'll leave you with this, and so we had a room of medical managers and folks from medical practices and everything. So I think the attendees list were maybe 150 to almost 200 people at the conference. And what we ended up doing is we had the attendees list, right, because we're a sponsor. So they sent us all their emails and everything. And we said, you know what? Let's find out if any of these folks, their information is leaked online, right? You heard the term dark web. It's nothing more than websites that are hidden out there, but there's not, I mean, they're dark, but not really as scary. So what we did is we grabbed all those email addresses and ran them through a tool. And I showed that during the session last week. And then it came back and it said, here's the email address, here's the password. Here's the email address, here's the password. Here's the email address, no password. Email address, no password. And I basically asked the people in the room, how many of you think that your password is out there? Nobody wanted to raise their hands, right? I mean, why? And I said, what if I told you that 40%, to be accurate, 38.99% of you here in this room, your password is online today? And everybody was surprised. You shouldn't be surprised because LinkedIn has been hacked, Yahoo has been hacked, River City Media has been hacked, which is a big consumer place that behind the scene. These are all big vendors that your password was out there leaked. And what happens is there's people online, hackers and communities that publish this stuff out there, right? You see Experian, the credit bureau, they advertise, we'll find you in dark web and alert you. What they're doing is they're going to a website, they're looking up your social security number, they're looking up your name, and if they find a hit, they send you a flag and tell you, hey, you need to do something. So we did the same thing, we just did it for the consumers, but these are medical administrators and medical managers that potentially have access to their own medical record system. So if some hacker is bored and they find a list of their emails and they say, you know what, let me log into CHS or Atrium Health Portal. Let me use this email address and password to see if it works. Because how many of us use the same password over and over, right? It happens. There's only so many passwords we can create that are unique and crazy enough. I know I can't. So, but when we showed them that, they were really surprised to see that they could fall victim. I said, if you haven't changed your password recently, this should give you a heads up that you need to go right now and change it.